Welcome to the people.
Hi!
I realize how busy you are.
The sequence has been carefully calculated.
Nobody will listen to us.
I'm glad somebody does.
That may have to wait.
We've revived you because it's almost time for our...
Pull to open.
Pull to open.
Yes, and what do you do?
They're going to roll back time.
Do you realize what will happen if they succeed?
We shall find ourselves in the golden age.
I think we can be a bit more original than that.
All right, and you great dressed up twit, you asked for it.
Here come the drums!
And welcome to Pull to Open, an ongoing quest to find all the Doctor Who stories with dinosaurs. My name is Tony Rex. This guy behind me is Chris Taylor.
And I'm Pete Paschal, and welcome, yes, to an adventure zillions and zillions of years in the making.
65 million, but who's counting?
Somewhere beyond imagining. I don't know. What are the all the phraseologies? Anyway, we're going to get a little prehistoric today, I think, with where we're going. But Chris and I, we're a couple of guys, we're a couple of journalists, perhaps occasional paleontologists. And we're here excited to go with you way back into the past, something along the lines of either 65 million years ago or 1974.
Yeah, 1974. Yes, the year that I started watching Doctor Who. Luckily, I was not sufficiently aware enough to know that this particular show that we're going to was perhaps not best regarded for a number of reasons, but we'll get there. We'll get there. But first, before we use our time scoop to really narrow in on where we are today, let's take a look at where we have been. Where, Pete?
Previously on Pull to Open. All right.
Yes. 3 stories ago, we were with the Doctor and Sarah Jane, who thought they'd landed on Earth, but what's this? Everything's deserted. Could this be an overused plot device? No! It was the android invasion. And 2 stories ago, we rocketed forward to the Randomizer's comfort food, Capaldi comfort food, where the Doctor had a bit of a problem with his companion, bit of a boyfriend error with his companion, while he took care of the monsters at Coal Hill School in The Caretaker.
A lot of stuff going on at school there. They learned a lot about, I think, maths and perhaps English. Not so much, and PE, but not so much of the science. I feel like maybe the British school system needs to maybe work on that, and we can talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll get into pedagogy and science very shortly. But first, I got to say about the place that we went to next, we utterly failed to recognize its significance. We went to the Impossible Astronaut / Day of the Moon. In other words, we went to space, 1969, and we went there. We recorded that episode, Pete. I don't know if we've
in hindsight.
It just days before the Day of the Moon, the day of the first moon landing. We were butting up right against the anniversary. The randomizer was like, guys, I gave you Apollo era appropriate programming, and what do? You just brush right past that part. So thank you, randomizer.
Well, when we went to the why did the randomizer take us here, part of that, I'm sure it was firing like all those John Travolta memes at us, like left and right. Guys, seriously, stop reaching. It's this simple.
Yeah, it was that easy. So we hung out with a certain president in the Oval Office and took a recording. I believe my recording was a bit low res of that meeting. I think Nixon needed to install better videotape recording system in the Oval Office.
Not bad for the era. Not bad for the era. Anyway,
after visiting Matt Smith, the Matt Smith era, which we've done so little of on our Random Adventure, relatively speaking. Big gaps in Smith. It decided to go back. The randomizer went way back in time, back to a golden age, you might say. Golden age of one Malcolm Hulke, who many people think is one of the best writers in Doctor Who history. and a little known adventure of his, perhaps not the one that first comes to mind, but it was season 11, serial number 2, Invasion of the Dinosaurs.
Sorry. Not sure what came out of me.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, Invasion of Dinosaurs. Okay, so this is, I sort of hinted at this in the intro, but it came out in 1974.
Yep.
And so did I. And I didn't know this until I was doing the research on exactly when this aired. This was airing right when I was born. So in case anyone wants to send a card or something, I was born on January 20th, 1974. And this one aired between the 12th of January and the 16th of February. So I think my obsession with both Doctor Who and dinosaurs as a child can be attributed to this serial. I'm just going to go with that.
Yeah. Let's go with that. I mean, it was definitely an era where all kids seemed to be into dinosaurs, right? It was just, I mean, this was prime time.
Oh yeah, and they had all the books, the sort of picture books you could get in the kids' side of the library. And I remember when I was like, the ripe age of 7, 8, 9, 10, somewhere around there. Like I would look forward to going to the library because I could go to the dinosaur section and get often the same books over and over because they just had cool pictures of T-Rexes fighting Triceratopses or what have you, right? And so I think. This was an obvious sort of try to maybe capitalize on that. And we'll evaluate on how successful it was.
Before they discovered we had goddamn feathers all over us.
Yeah.
A lot easier to be excited about dinosaurs then. But yes, Invasion of the Dinosaurs. I wasn't necessarily looking forward to this, a 6-parter. 6 parts! Very, very padded, it is known. That's about all I knew about Invasion of the Dinosaurs. You had seen it before.
Yeah, I had, yeah.
The first episode.
Yeah, exactly. This is actually the first time I've seen the first episode of this serial was in doing it for the podcast, because the first episode was wiped. Strangely, I don't know the exact circumstances. You can look them up, but basically the first episode was wiped. The rest of it was intact. Now I don't think they had the first episode for a long time until somewhere in the early 80s, but then basically a black and white version turned up somewhere. And so after that, they had them all. But even after that, I think when it was being sold to PBS, it was still being sold as like the last 5 parts. And I'm not sure if that's just, it took a while for things to catch up, or they thought that, because it's in black and white, it's just going to be weird, so we're not going to do it. And in the same sort of logic that, they don't, or at least didn't, I'm not sure if they do today, but they didn't have like the Reign of Terror on BritBox because 2 of the episodes are animated, where it's like, that's just
crazy,
silly not to do it. And now at least this whole adventure is on BritBox. It's just the first episode's still in black and white.
Yeah, thank goodness they didn't avoid it altogether. Although some people might not be saying thank goodness to that, but yeah, it was. I mean, we'll get into more in the commentary of the episode now. But just to address your question of like, why was it wiped? It was actually wiped because the first episode they didn't want to give away the dinosaur thing, so they just called the first episode Invasion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and because of, I know it was spoiled anyway. Thanks, Radio Times. Who had a feature on dinosaurs.
Well, it's also kind of spoiled in the episode. Like there's a pterodactyl attack like halfway through, and you're just kind of like, was that, why did you do it that way if you wanted a big reveal of a dinosaur at the end of the episode? Very strange.
So there was only one end result of Barry Letts deciding to rename that first episode The Invasion, and that was that they mistook it for the Troughton story of the same name. And that's why the first episode was wiped.
Oh, is that what it was? I'd read maybe that might have been a myth, but I mean, okay, that makes sense, I guess.
I mean, it could be a myth. My source could be out of date. I have been looking at sources from the Triassic era.
But it actually makes a ton of sense if they were just hunting down invasion episodes to do that. Anyway, it's back as black and white. They have a colorized version, I guess, that is on the DVD, but I understand the color dot stuff they do in the film wasn't complete, so it's not a great colorized version. I haven't seen that. I don't have the DVD.
I kind of want to watch that just to see. There is one of the most gruesome scenes in classic Who, where you see a guy who's been eaten by a dinosaur in episode 1.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'd like to see that in color because, damn, in black and white, you're just like, not a great go.
Exactly.
But anyway.
But we'll get to it, and we'll get to it after we get a couple things out of the way, and it is approaching, it's stomping at us, it's about to let out its inhuman roar. It is, of course, the Whomoji Challenge. I had to break. I couldn't do it. No, it's the monster-sized emoji challenge. That's what we're going to do today. It's a monstrosity of a Whomoji. What's the Whomoji challenge? This is the part of the show where I get to torture Chris by giving him emojis, and then he has to guess the Doctor Who title that they correspond to.
What's that, Tony? No, it's not Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. Actually, it might be Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. If it is, I'll let you answer, okay?
All right. Thank you. That's a good promise.
We have, by the way, a dinosaur in the title bingo.
We do. That's right. Yeah. Dinosaurs in a Spaceship, Invasion of the Dinosaurs. And are there any others?
I don't think so. I mean, there are other dinosaurs in Doctor Who, but
yes,
we're close to a bingo on that. We'll have to take a very deep breath before we are.
All right. Well, we'll see if we get any closer in the Whomoji challenge. Okay. So I was not kidding that this is a monster-sized Whomoji. This is 18 emojis.
What?
All right.
18 emojis?
You're going to love it.
Oh my God. This is definitely padded.
All right. So I am going to fire off a bunch. Well, first I'll give you the first emoji. All right, you ready?
Yep.
First emoji is an optical disc. The second through 17th emojis are all optical discs. So, the first 17 emojis are all optical discs. The 18th emoji is an egg. And that's your Whomoji.
An egg?
An egg.
An egg. It's a dinosaur egg. Actually, it might be. You know what? This is an episode with dinosaurs in it, isn't it, Tony? A dinosaur thing. A lizard. A lizard is at the end of this episode. But the thing about those 17 optical disc emojis, the thing that you don't realize until you look at all those 17 optical disc emojis is that they were all owned by Sally Sparrow, because this has to be Blink.
It's Blink.
17 DVDs. I'll never forget.
Booyah. Yeah, that's the first 17 kind of gave it away. And it is, if you've seen the episode, you know that is the key plot point. That's where the Doctor puts all of his little messages as DVD extras on those DVDs, the 17 that she owns. And boy, oh boy.
Easter egg. It's an Easter egg.
There you go. Easter eggs. And the it's gotten me this, honestly, I miss DVDs.
Yeah.
Because there were so many
color dinosaurs,
commentaries, features, etc. That idea, especially of the DVD commentary, is kind of becoming a lost art. And I think they still do some of them here and there, but it used to be such a big thing for that era. And you had occasionally like just amazing stuff. And honestly, like I get a lot of stuff from commentaries when I have time to watch them, and I have the DVDs for this podcast. I think they still do them for things like, probably Doctor Who, but just because they know they're going to have a lot of collectors. But I feel like the whole idea of the DVD commentary is now kind of a lost thing. There would be like this incredible 10 years or so of movie making where it was just expected, and you got this extra thing as a fan of a movie. And now it's increasingly rare. It's too bad.
Yeah, I know. I miss the commentaries. I have a list somewhere in my notes about all the DVDs that had supposedly good commentary tracks that are just classic that fans talk about. And there's no replication for that in the digital era. So, yes, if you are looking to start a Doctor Who channel of any sort on any social media, you might want to think about a channel that just dedicates itself to those commentaries. Maybe just getting a transcript or something. I was reminded when I recently rewatched Silence of the Library, Forest of the Dead, that the commentary on that, where Moffat and RTD are just sort of going off and not even talking about the story, is allegedly one of the greatest Doctor Who commentaries of all time. So that might be a good one to start with.
No, that's a good one. All right. And if you are starting with Pull to Open, you may want to start with going to Spotify and potentially voting on the episodes that we vote on. So this is, the area, the part of the show that we call Pull to Open, where we ask everyone to rate the episodes, and we have some ratings from a previous commentary that we did.
Yeah, we got the Android Invasion votes coming in now. The voting is still open. If you're in line to vote on the Android Invasion, stay in line. You can go to that podcast, pull from the bottom of the screen if you're on Spotify or your Spotify burner account. Just pull that up and it'll be right down there. Now, the Android Invasion, sadly, no one thought it was a Viscount banger. The best rating. We'll explain all our ratings at the end of the show. I said that it was a Professor Ogron, halfway between a Professor Hater and Ogron, and I think if you put that together in a coalition, I have won. Professor Hater has 45% of the vote at the moment. The Ogron has about 9% of the votes. Together, they are entering Downing Street. Yep.
Nice coalition there.
Yeah, the Dalek is going to form the official opposition. Got about 27% of the vote, and then the Fixed Point in Time got a healthy amount at the ballot box there. 18.2% said that it was beyond rating. It was too nostalgic. People are nostalgic for the Android Invasion among our listeners.
I can see that.
Yeah.
So you did the Professor Ogron, as you said. I rated this one as Zarbi, which I thought it was so bad it's good. Nobody agreed with me. Nobody thought that. Interesting. Nobody. All right.
But if you did happen to think that the Android Invasion was a Zarbi, that it's so bad it's good, or if it's a Lady Cassandra, if you like the way it looks, but think it has a paper-thin plot, Dairy Nation, go and vote in that poll now. You can still change time. You can change history. Time can be rewritten, at least one line. What else you can do is you can rewrite to us. I'm assuming you've written to us already at one of our socials. We're at Pull to Open, TikTok and Blue Sky. We're Pull to Open 63 on Instagram, X, most other places. If you're on YouTube, you can be a Sarah Jane, aka a true companion of the podcast, and you can kind of do the same on Spotify with just a one-time donation at the bottom of the show notes. 99 cents, $4.99, $9.99. I mean, I'm not saying what you should give, but these dinosaur puppets ain't cheap, people. So, it's time to plunge now into our commentary on Doctor Who and the Invasion of the Dinosaurs.
Right. Let's get right to it. Okay.
In which we summarize the target novelization. We summarize the target novelization every minute with 1 minute per page.
Oh, wow. All right.
And no, we don't do that. We summarize the show itself. Sorry. Novelization's much better in this case, but this time it is your turn, Pete. It's your turn. And we allot 30 seconds per Classic Who episode, so you have a luxurious 3 minutes. But I think what you need to do, I think we need to impose the rules, since that's a whole lot of time to summarize this plot. I think you need to just spend 30 seconds in the Whomobile at some point. Just like describe its flashing lights.
See what kind of gas mileage it gets.
Yeah.
How many cylinders?
Yeah, just completely break the flow of your description in this segment that we call TLDW, by the way. Too long didn't watch.
Too long Doctor Who.
Dinosaur Who.
That's right.
So Yes, that's our segment. You have to summarize all of it in 3 minutes, whether or not you use the Whomobile. We'll say Malcolm Hulk did not in the novelization. He threw it right out. It was supposed to be a bloody motorbike, and he even has the Doctor say that a motorbike is the most efficient form of transport for getting around London. So take that, John Pertwee. Anyway, we will get to the behind the scenes on the Whomobile and everything else
And the lack
once we've
thereof,
done. Once we've done the TLDW, are you ready, sir?
Yeah, I'm about as ready as I'll be. We'll see how this goes. But sure, I think it's fairly straightforward.
You have a slight spoiler on my screen there. We've got the clack that's famously on the cover of the.
I'm going to be distracted by the clack. I'm going to want to say clack. Now
clack.
All right.
Click and clack. All right, so here we go. The official pull to open summary of the invasion of the dinosaurs in 3 minutes, starting in 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, the Doctor and Sarah come back to London from being in the Time Warrior and in medieval England, and they see it's abandoned. And the Doctor wonders, is it Sunday? And then they realize there's looters. It's not totally abandoned, and there are soldiers chasing the looters. And then the Doctor gets clocked by one of them, but he also gets attacked by a pterodactyl. What's going on? And then these soldiers find them, and they assume they're looters. And they start taking Sarah and the Doctor back to whatever base it is, and they're attacked by a T-Rex, and the soldiers come out and shoot at it. The Doctor and Sarah escape, and then they encounter a weirdo who seems to be, he's from like ancient England. He thinks that the Doctor's a wizard, but he gets time transported out of there, and the Brigadier walks in, and the Doctor almost hits him, and they're like, hey, good to see you. And then they go back to the unit headquarters, and they realize there's dinosaurs all over London, and they've had to evacuate London to make sure that people don't get hurt. So that's why London's empty. And so the Doctor wants to figure out what this is, what's going on. And he decides, well, I'm going to capture one of these dinosaurs and then track it when it disappears. So they'll be able to find how that's going on. But the people behind that have already infiltrated UNIT and the army and the government. And it's these group of scientists and people who are very disillusioned with the world and want to basically rewind it via a time device into something they think is a golden age. So they want to sort of rewind the Earth. And the dinosaur thing is essentially a way to get rid of London and calibrate their device so that they can get ready for this. And they've been planning it for a long time. And they're using a shelter underneath London, something that was built in the war, but has barely on any records. And Sarah goes off and tries to research this and figure out like how such a thing could exist. Basically, in terms of finding what could power a time scoop, because the Doctor suspects it's a nuclear power source, and then they find out this shelter that was supposedly not built has one, and so they figure it out that this thing exists. But the Sarah does, because she does that, she actually betrays herself to General Finch, who's the Brigadier's boss, who is actually working for this group, this Golden Age group, and so she gets put into the shelter with all these other people who think they're on a journey to some other planet, but they're not. They're actually still just there underground, and they're going to take them out once they do the rewinding of time to the Golden Age. So the Doctor and the Brigadier, stuff it to General Finch and find the place, and they use explosives to get in, and the Doctor comes in. And then Sarah makes trouble on the quote unquote ship and tells them about all what's really happening. And they figure it out because she goes out the airlock on her own and there's nothing there. And they all come out and they all demand this explanation in the control room right when they're about to throw the switch. And they do throw the switch, and the Doctor stops it because he's a Time Lord and he can sort of go through it. But and then those two guys activate the switch when the Doctor reverses the Plato, and they disappear, and then everything's still back to normal. And the Doctor says the real enemy's Creed.
Yes, and then the Doctor suddenly turns on the charm with Sarah Jane by telling her all about a planet of flowers.
Florana.
That the Doctor suddenly makes what I think is possibly the biggest tonal shift, I think, in any Doctor Who story ever, where Pertwee goes from this speechifying, and he really has a heck of a let's talk about politics and goodness and there never was a golden age and all of that stuff. He goes straight from that and from sympathizing with poor old Mike Yates, and being shaken by the fact that Mike Yates is a traitor, to being like, oh, well, never mind about that. Hey, Sarah Jane, want to come with me in the TARDIS? Hey, there's a planet full of
it's
flowers.
funny. This is so emblematic of the Pertwee era. If you think about like the weird tonal shifts, particularly at the end of episodes, if you remember, I think Terror of the Autons, where he was kind of like uncorking the champagne almost, that the master was still around, and that it's like the game's afoot. We're going to have lots of fun while people die, and but etc.
Yeah, Pertwee. It's hard to sort of escape the belief that Pertwee's Doctor just doesn't care about a lot of things, and
it's unflappable. I think would be the way I would describe it.
And it sometimes tends to to the other side of things, which is unflappable. It just doesn't care, really.
But I still think
so.
That's one thing I kind of left out of the TLDW. I regret. I got into some weird detail there, but one thing I did leave out was Yates. And I think that's a very central part of this. Honestly, it's probably the thing that makes this story the most memorable, is that Yates betrays UNIT and really puts his lot in with the Golden Age guys in episode 6. Like, he pulls a gun on them, on the Doctor and the Brigadier, and just is like, this is what we're doing.
And is repeatedly told to sabotage things. And if you're as much of a Beastie Boys fan as I am, you will never hear sabotage the same way. Once you hear, listen, Mike Yates, this is sabotage. But they keep asking him to do it. He keeps sabotaging stuff. And it just, Mike Yates, WYD, as the kids say. What are you doing?
Yeah, I think they flesh out his journey a bit in some other media. In this case, you can kind of fill in the blanks a bit, because in the previous story that he was in, which was the Green Death, he was kind of hypnotized and working against the Doctor and everybody against his will. But you could make the case, he was a little screwed up by that, and it made him very suggestible. And so when the Golden Age folks, Grover and Finch, or whoever, probably Grover, because he's the most political and persuasive, gets to him, he goes for it. And, they foreshadow it. They have that little bit where he's talking to Sarah, which is all about like, London's actually really nice now that no one's in it. And I saw a fox, and I think he's at Piccadilly or something. And he seems to have like admiration for it. And then, but I actually like that scene better for just giving us a little bit of Yates and Sarah, in that it sort of shows they have some kind of friendship that then gets a little more developed in Planet of the Spiders. So I didn't mind Yates's journey on this one.
Part of the problem is that, we sort of see like the way it's played, it's like an evil conspiracy run by evil villains who are playing everything evil.
Well, misguided villains.
Misguided. Well, yes, but in the novelization, Malcolm Holt takes a great deal of pains to say, hey, this was actually a thing that attracted a lot of people, which you can sort of get in the story, right? There's one guy's like an athlete, and another guy's a novelist, and this one was this.
I think she was an academic or something.
Yeah, actually, I think she was an MP, and she introduced, she defines herself as Ruth, which is like, why not Eve? The dude's called Adam, and you're starting a new society. Well, why are you calling yourself Ruth? Shout out to my sister Ruth. But yeah, it's a little weird. It's played as villainy, but in the novelization, we hear that like they put ads in newspapers. It was a lot of people saying, the planet is rubbish, and let's go back to a golden age. And here's an interesting thing here. This is all so far away from where Malcolm Hulke wanted to go. We can talk in a minute about what Malcolm Hulke's original pitch was, and we can all sit and imagine for a moment Malcolm Hulke's face when he was told that he had to include dinosaurs and traitor Mike Yates into the script.
It's writing for TV, man. You got to know.
So he definitely get the sense that he phoned a lot of this in, but he really made the Golden Age conspiracy about the idea of going back to a golden age. Like the idea of like both left and right in the 70s were like concerned about the environment. This is actually an age where the environment was a Republican issue and a conservative issue. right? This was the era when Nixon, aka the guy who traveled in the TARDIS in our last Pull to Open adventure, founded the EPA.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And and Margaret Thatcher was a committed environmentalist. I mean, it really used to be much more of a right-wing thing, and a lot of that right-wing approach to it was this notion of let's go back to a golden age. Let's go back to this imagined golden age that ever happened. So if you're wondering why famed Marxist Malcolm Hulk, very, very on the left, is sort of, has this conspiracy that appears to be, to us today, it kind of reads as a left-wing conspiracy a little bit, right? Because it's like eco-terrorism, basically. That was definitely not his intention, and definitely a lot of that is the way that these guys play it, where you can tell everyone who's in the conspiracy, except Yates, maybe, because they're all just villains. They are just literally villains. The general, the politician, they're just both assholes. Right?
Yeah, well, I mean, the politician is sort of. I think they're played really well. I don't know. Certainly, the general's an asshole and takes his plays it that way pretty well. I do think the guy who plays Grover is quite good at kind of getting. He plays a great politician, and it's he has sort of this warmth and this passion behind what he says, but he's also obviously very manipulative. And I like that the Doctor kind of goes up to him and sort of expresses his admiration for what he has talked about, and the Doctor is aligned with this guy. So yeah, I don't know. I doubt that Malcolm Hulk was trying to portray everyone as some kind of right wing conspiracy. I do think he was trying to show the problem with extremism, regardless of what side you're on. And so if you take the idea to the to sort of a logical extreme and just essentially cross that line of the ends justifying the means, then you've got evil. And it's in a lot of the people who are bamboozled, which is the people on the ship, this quote unquote ship, they come out at the end, and because Mark isn't evil, Mark's just trying to do his thing, and he's a bit dim, and just thinks this is the way to go. It is. In terms of the logistics of all of it, it all breaks down under any scrutiny, right? Because it's all these people. One guy even says he sold his home at one point. And you got to think this. Someone must have said, "Hey, I'm going to go on a spaceship, and I'm going to go to this new Earth or whatever." This didn't get out. No one thought that was weird. And Sarah's the first person to say, this is actually probably not a real thing. Right. It's just, it's kind of, this would have been one of those cults, right? What was the cult where everyone drank poison or whatever because of some guy?
That was Jim Jones. That was Jonestown. But also I was thinking of the Haley Bopp Comet people who thought they were going to get taken out.
So honestly, because of the existence of cults and their success actually in history, it is a little believable, right? That people could be bamboozled and go off. You just think there would just be a little more known about that. But yeah, the whole conspiracy, the conspiracy is real and is fine. The whole idea that they got to bring dinosaurs, this is the thing I never quite figured out, and maybe they say it at some point in some dialogue. I get that they want to clear out central London, because this is the effect of Golden Age, and they're going to preserve people within basically the area of London. So they want to get everyone out, except for their people. But why didn't they just do that? I guess also bringing back the dinosaurs, they had to calibrate the device, or that was part of it. They were getting it ready. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a little confusing. We should say, before we go much further, what the original intention of clearing out central London was, which was Malcolm Hulk had this idea for a story about appeasement. The way the Nazis were appeased before World War II. He wanted this idea where aliens land. It's an alien invasion, and they start off by occupying central London, and they sound reasonable, and they're just we just want this. We just want central London. It's okay. And human race sort of keeps getting pushed back, slowly by salami slices, slowly accommodating the bad guys to be like, oh yeah, oh they just want all of Europe, it's fine. And in the end, everyone's in Australia. Everyone has herded themselves into Australia. So I don't think that as Hulk originally intended would have actually made a good Doctor Who plot. But that's the starting point. And then he gets told by
sounds
Barry
like a two-parter,
right? And then he gets told by Barry Letts, I loved the Drashigs from Carnival of Monsters.
Yeah, it's good that he did. I love the Drashigs too.
Yeah, go check out our podcast on the Drashigs, which actually did look like good models. And he's like, I'm sure that we can do dinosaurs with this technology cheaply. And I gotta say, we talked before on the podcast on like the behind the scenes on various Doctor Who stories that would make good follow-ups to An Adventure in Space and Time. And I think we've got to have a contender here because Malcolm Hulk's been done dirty. He's getting angry. Letts is dreaming of Drashigs, but he's so checked out because he was actually working on this other BBC sci-fi series called Moonbase 3. Terrence Dix is like halfway out the door and trying to train Robert Holmes, throws him in at the deep end actually with some script editing on the later episodes of this. Nobody understands the villains aren't supposed to be played like villains. The dinosaur model, the can of who's going to do the dinosaur model gets kicked down to this model maker who subcontracts it to another model maker who would later go out of business because he wasn't very good. And Pertwee, meanwhile, is having a midlife crisis. He's still shaken up by Roger Delgado's death.
Right.
He still misses Katie Manning. And he's just in his I'm Tom Baker, I'm uncontrollable phase. And he just like has the Whomobile built as a fait accompli to get it in the show. Like he suggested it. He suggested the BBC might want to build it. BBC's like, don't think so, John. You're supposed to need a motorbike in this scene. And then he just shows up during filming.
Yeah.
With the Whomobile.
That's hilarious.
And also, during Invasion of Dinosaurs is when it was announced that he was leaving the show.
Right.
So this is like prime time for like he's halfway out the door as well.
Well, you get that sense, that scene where he's being like put upon by everyone, like, what are you up to? And he explains it to one person and someone else, hey, what are you making there? And he's like, oh, just ask so and so. And then the Brigadier comes in at the end. He's like, hey, Doctor, what are you up to? And he's like, that's probably not acting so much there. He's just like, I'm done. Well, the Whomobile thing's interesting. I didn't actually realize that. And it makes a lot of sense because it's fun to see it. And then it's just not really used at all. Like he kind of drives away once or twice in it. And it's like he has this cool car that looks like a hovercraft. And then he spends half of episode 5 in a Jeep doing 3-point turns in and out. Like the episode 5 is so padded. It's like unreal.
Driving with the Doctor.
Yeah. So I'll just zoom out a bit and I'll say, like, I think there's definitely like issues with this show, not the least of which are the dinosaurs. But I got to say, I was really engaged in it in the early episodes. I think there are some very strong performances from Liz Sladen, who's new now, but she's really trying. And I think this is a great episode for her and for Sarah. She actually gets to be a journalist, which is neat, and show how she's different from Katie Manning and Joe, and just how capable she is. And sort of, I really like the bit where Finch, I think it's Finch, it might be Grover, I forgot who it is. Someone challenges her on her sources because they're talking about Whittaker. And he's like, Whittaker's the guy who, he had these great time travel theories. And then, I think it's Grover. He says like, no, he came, I saw it and it's all junk. It was crap. And he's a mad scientist. And she's like, that's not what my sources say. And he asks her like, who are your sources? Well, his colleagues, other MPs, the science guy at the Times. Like, yeah, I did my homework. I have a telephone. Like, that was pretty great. I was like, nice going, Sarah.
I noticed that too. She listed off a whole bunch of sources that are basically unimpeachable. At the time, the Times was a very, very well regarded newspaper.
Yeah, very
science correspondent from it. Yeah, absolutely. But I got to say, you think, this is great for Liz Sladen in a lot of ways. It's her second outing. She's taken the summer off after The Time Warrior,
right?
Which was recorded at the end of the previous season.
Got a haircut.
And she got her hair cut. Yes. She, like, you think everyone's asleep at the switch. No, Liz Sladen's not going to be asleep at the switch, right? She's going to remember the instruction that she not cut her hair for continuity. No, she went out and had her hair did.
I mean, who cares?
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it would not be the first time in Doctor Who that the hair got a little like crazy. And the thing is, she looks great. I mean, that's the point.
Yeah.
You could completely like buy it in that she has the same outfit. We just kind of go with it. It's not like today where everything was on demand and you could just kind of go back. I think by the time you're like 10 minutes into episode 1, you're just kind of forgotten about it. So
I would not have remembered, even if I'd just seen it a week before, what her hair was like. And I'm a big Liz Sladen fan. But it's kind of cool that she gets to go in those denim overalls when she's part of the cult.
The denim suits are amazing. I totally want one. This is total cosplay at the next Doctor Who convention. She has a big collars. So the look of all the people going to Earth 2 or wherever is great. I will say the fact that she wakes up in denim sort of brings up the uncomfortable realization that someone undressed Sarah and then dressed her in denim. But to go into this thing, obviously, you may not want to think about it, but it's obviously implied.
I want to say before we get too far away from Sarah Jane, the journalist, if you like scenes in filing cabinets, this is the Doctor Who story for you. They have a whole dragged out scene where the government minister who's in on the conspiracy takes her into his filing cabinet room, right? And they're just looking, and they happen to find the right files that are like just on top of each folder.
I think that one filing cabinet he opens up has basically 2 files in it. It's like the first one he pulls out and says, "No, this is just budget stuff." And then the next one where it's like, "Oh, here's the file. Here it is."
Oh, hey.
Honestly, if you break that down, it makes so little sense. Like, okay, wait a minute. One, you have the actual file, like the real file with the incriminating stuff there in your room, still preserved. You haven't destroyed it. And you put it in a room that is also a lift. So that when someone does find it, presumably when you're escorting them, you can just have them taken right to the base. And it's kind of like, it's almost like he predicted this, like someone's going to figure this out. I'm going to take them in the file room and we're going to make that the lift. And then we'll be able to deal with them. And whoever does that, this is the plan. We've in fact built this room exactly for this scene.
Yes, is
basically it. Like, what?
I shall hypnotize them by knocking them to sleep with really boring files. We're just going to pull those out and make you read them, and you just fall asleep, and then you're on a spaceship. You don't remember what happened or how you got undressed. But yeah, Sarah does have a line around there where she's like, "Oh, I keep choosing the wrong friends. So I keep choosing my friends badly." And you're like, this government minister was so sinister, played so sinister. And today, of course, we're looking back at this and like, what are you trusting the government for, Sarah?
Well, she also asked permission at one point, which I didn't like. I thought like she was like, "Can I take photos, Brigadier?" And he of course is like, "No, you can't." It's like, well, that was your mistake. You shouldn't have asked. You should have just showed up with a camera. Like, come on. Are you a journalist?
It is nice, by the way, to see a journalist in the 70s doing everything, including taking photos. That's more often seen as a sign of the more cut price digital journalism era.
Yeah, well, taking photos was harder back then. You actually had to know a thing or two about a camera and like focus and apertures and all that stuff.
And oh my God, learn to turn off the flash, Sarah Jane, because that's what wakes up the dinosaur that she takes.
Take down your shutter speed a little bit.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. And I mean, but she knows that in the novelization, she's like, "Oh, I won't take a picture through the glass because the flash will reflect." But she doesn't think about, the flash will awaken the pea brain of this 65 million year old.
Yeah, I can see her making that mistake though. Like in other words, the doctor did say it'll be out for a while yet. He didn't say like, don't take flash photography in here because it'll wake up the dinosaur. That might seem, it's obvious in hindsight, but I could like, I'm not like, I'm not giving her a hard time over it.
You need a big sign on the wall the doctor can tap that just says no flash photography.
So, I did love that cliffhanger it's probably the best cliffhanger of the whole serial when she awakens in the ship and the guy says, "We left Earth 3 months ago." Because you do are thinking, well, what? Really? And it's Doctor Who, right? Like there's spaceships and that could be a thing. I thought that was pretty smart. And it's way, way better than 3 of the 4 other cliffhangers, which are all, oh my God, there's a T-Rex. A very slow moving and weird looking claymation T-Rex right here. It's like,
you got a problem with T-Rexes, buddy?
I don't. I love T-Rexes. T-Rexes are awesome. I think you can have too much of a good thing, and you can also bastardize them into bad things, which this did. Which might mean it's time to talk a little bit about the dinosaurs in Invasion of the Dinosaurs.
Yes, which it is safe to say they're not remembered in the same breath as the Jurassics in Carnival of Monsters. They did not achieve their goal. Ironically, I was because one of the commenters on this mentioned the Chewits dinosaur.
What dinosaur?
I went, so in Britain there's a candy called Chewits.
Oh, okay.
They're kind of like Starburst. That nice. Kind of candy. And, there was this whole ad campaign about how chewy they are. And in the 70s, a very small, young stop-motion animation house called Aardman, which would go on to do Wallace and Gromit, did an ad for the Chewits monster. It was a dinosaur. It was basically a takeoff of 50s B-movies with a giant dinosaur in it. And it looked amazing. I mean, it was cartoonish. It was Aardman, kind of looked like a ancestor of Wallace and Gromit, but it's still like, I remember being terrified by that ad. And it was in this sort of weird World War II setting. And, people were carrying giant packs of Chewits on their back to placate the monster. If they had just gone to Aardman, Invasion of the Dinosaurs, like it might have been a bit more campy. But it would have been remembered, I think, as just brilliant stop motion animation, which was kind of what they were going for. But these models, they know animate.
No, I'm not sure. Like, I obviously the model maker is partially to blame. I think you have to put a little responsibility at the feet of Patty Russell, who was the director. And I think there's evidence in her other serials that she's not like the best action movie like type director. Not that there's a ton of that in Classic Who, but I think, should she do Horror of Fang Rock? She
did, yes. I was going to say, we talked a lot about Patty Russell in our Horror of Fang Rock episode. Go back and listen to that.
Yeah, and that's
really good at that kind of moody.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. She got the mood of that right. She got all that, but when it came time for the Rootin' to come out and do some stuff with it, I mean, you work with what you got. Again, it was like a jellyfish and some gunk, and she did her best. But not the greatest action scene ever in Doctor Who. And similar with this, right? Like, you had these CSO type shots where the Doctor and whoever's standing in front of something, and it's really just whatever it is, whether it's a Stegosaurus, whether it's an Apatosaurus, or even the T-Rex, they're all just kind of plotting in the background, moving really slowly. The model maker, like, I gotta say, like, I mean, I know this is a nerdy thing to even say, but like the 3 claws on the T-Rex, I mean, come on, like, pick up a book. Like there's pictures of T-Rexes at this point in 73, 74. They have 2 fingers.
Really looked at your hands.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But also, like, the dinosaurs aren't characters at all, right? Like, and I know this is probably expecting too much of 1974, but like, the whole idea in Jurassic Park, and again, obviously eons in not just actual years, but special effects and storytelling. But you do get like sort of the almost the personality and character of some of these things. And I know I'm not expecting like an elaborate sort of dinosaur plot along the lines of those movies, but more there than just like it's an obstacle doing whatever. And the thing is, because it's 6 parts and because it's called Invasion of the Dinosaurs, you have to have dinosaurs in every episode. You have to.
Yeah.
And they do.
That's right.
They just barely get one in episode 5 with the T-Rex at the end. But, you're just left with these scenes where they're just kind of "Rah, duh," and you kind of waiting for them to be over. It's really kind of sad. And even if you're not going to do like dinosaurs as characters, which I get, that would be a weird thing to be able to be really ahead of its time if they did. You could at least give some lip service to how wondrous this is. Like some people going like dinosaurs, like, wow, like this is incredible. Like now we know what they look like, and scientists are champing at the bit to get here to study them, etc. And just some kind of moment that's not quite the awe moment in Jurassic Park, but at least alludes to how like crazy cool this is. Even if it doesn't look cool, have this character sell that it is.
Yeah, you need someone like Sam Neill standing up and taking his glasses off and looking at these things and going, "My God!" Or someone to warn the scientists that they thought so much about whether they could. They didn't think about whether they should. Perhaps Barry Letts should have heard that line. But yeah, they do. They just kind of show up, and the unit just kind of shoots at them.
Yeah, that makes no sense. Like even in
including the Stegosaurus,
right?
Who, even after the Doctor says that they're placid, they're vegetarians. They're what are you doing? And they just keep shooting.
Yeah, and even I don't even know what they're trying to do in episode 1 when the T-Rex shows up. Like I get like, oh, you're freaking out. It's this giant thing. It's going to maybe kill you. Like maybe just drive away. Like
it's
probably faster than the thing.
If you're evacuating the whole population and creating an exclusion zone, just stand at the edge of the exclusion zone. Don't go in and shoot the things, especially if they're disappearing. Yeah. And yet it is so weird looking back on it, like the fact that nobody mentions dinosaurs in the first episode. The Doctor and Sarah keep going, look, what's going on? Look, can you just tell us what's going on? People are being arrested for looting, but what's going on? And they just drive that kind of that question into the ground. And in the novelization, one of the looters does actually say a little bit of what's going on, that it started off with some kids on Hampstead Heath finding a dinosaur. And nobody would believe them because they're kids. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. But that would have been nice here. But instead of just like, oh, yeah, there's dinosaurs. And we get to see more of Benton's colored map. Benton is so excited about his colored map with his little colored pins for each kind of dinosaur.
Well, did you notice that he says very dutifully the whole color code of like red, blue, and green and pink for the pterodactyls, but there are also yellow pins on the map. So you're like, well, wait a minute, what are the yellow ones? What are those? Are those velociraptors? Like what?
I gotta say, this though is we should definitely say something nice here. This is really a very nice. First of all, I'll say something nice about the dinosaurs. I'll get that out of the way while I remember it. Malcolm Hulke was ahead of his game by saying Apatosaurus, not Brontosaurus.
Right.
Because Brontosaurus, we now know, we found out shortly after this aired that there was really no such thing as the Brontosaurus as we defined it. The paleontologists basically just stuck the wrong head on the wrong skeleton.
They change their theories every 20 or 30 years. I think in the last 5 or 10 years, there's been some resurgence of Brontosaurus maybe being its own thing for different reasons. But yes, at the time it was new, that idea.
So he's on the cutting edge. He's honestly, he's not responsible for the 3 claws. Malcolm Hulke would like to bang his head on the desk and remind you just how much of this he is not responsible for.
Another dated line is where the Doctor says the T-Rex is the largest and fiercest predator of all time, which we now know to be incorrect, even though it is the most famous by far still. There's been other bigger dinosaurs since that have, the Spinosaurus, your Giganotosaurus, that the Jurassic Park movies have sort of taken over there. Sorry, my man.
That's it's all right. I'll just be over here. It's okay. No. I also wanted to say in the Say Something Nice segment, this is a really good story for Benton.
Oh yeah, it's maybe his best.
Maybe his best. He says to the Doctor, "Why don't you knock me out with some Venusian Uja?" Which may be one of his best lines. Some of that Venus Uja. And the Doctor does. And oh my God, I don't think I've liked Pertwee less than when he just sort of like drops Benton on the floor, face first.
Right. Had to make it look real, bro.
Yeah, but still, like, don't drop him on his face.
Yeah. It'd be funny in the next scene if he had a bloody nose or something.
I know. He's like, oh, it's all right, Doctor. It's all
But
right.
it's important that he doesn't have a mark on him. That's the problem, because the general has to call him out.
I got to say, so I didn't necessarily believe that Mike Yates would be part of this conspiracy, right? Mike Yates seems like he would not be suckered in. But good, brave, loyal Benton? Like, could you imagine if he was in the conspiracy?
Oh, never. Could never buy that. Yates kind of a little bit.
I don't know. I mean, you have to work a little bit in the dialogue. Benton could be like, "Oh yeah, I read it in one of those newspapers. They said that they wanted to end pollution and go back to a golden age or something," which is what it says.
No,
in the
I don't
novelization.
think Benton is. I just don't think he thinks on that level, which I think is kind of why he's maybe an enlisted guy still, right? Like, I think it's more believable that a guy like Yates, once he becomes an officer and has sort of more responsibility, is sort of more persuadable there. Again, these are fairly thin characters already, so I would tend to agree that flipping the coin, you could kind of flip the coin and sort of figure it out either way. But I do like that Benton is the one who gets to take down Yates. That's very apt.
And he's the one who gets to punch a general.
And does that too.
Also, possibly the most British thing about Invasion of the Dinosaurs is that the resolution depends on the soldier who's made the tray of cups of tea.
That guy.
He brings in the tea, and that distracts Yates enough for Benton to knock him out, right?
Well done, tea.
Yeah, well done, tea. And you think that guy was just getting sent out for the tea to send him out of the way. Well, he was. But he ends up saving the day with tea. And speaking of saving the day, we got a bit of a Deus Ex Machina where the Doctor just happens to be able to move in a time eddy. Because he's a Time Lord.
He's a Time Lord. That's, yeah.
I mean, it's a good thing we've been to the Caretaker recently. We could discuss that whole thing of like, Time Lords are just entitled aristocratic assholes, including the Doctor. And he totally shows that here, and he's just like, yeah, I'm just going to move through this time eddy.
Yeah, it's too bad. I mean, it's okay. I mean, like, the thing is, they do kind of, I wouldn't say earn it, but it is like he is a Time Lord, and it would make sense that he has a bit of immunity to whatever the effect is. But I do agree with you. It's a bit of a cop out. It sort of reminded me of the end of the Star Beast, where they sort of blew up London, but then reversed it right away. Like, it's almost like you want to have your big final moment and have it sort of succeed and sort of see that, and then still not have it happen and have everything be reset at the end. And so that always sort of ends up being a bit of a cop out. I would say this is probably less so than Star Beast. I felt like Star Beast was, and that's probably because of the special effects a bit, right? Because here it's just like this blue glow. Yeah. And in Star Beast, they actually show like whole neighborhoods getting wrecked and stuff, and then somehow reversing that. Yeah,
I think it's hella funny, that scene where they demonstrate the time eddy to one of the members of the conspiracy by just like dropping a coffee cup.
Oh yeah.
they just have a lot of spare coffee cups around. Like, you couldn't demonstrate with something else.
Just had a slip.
Yeah. Good Lord. I mean, coffee. There's caffeine all over this thing. But yeah, it's interesting that we came here, and we're going to ask about the randomizer in a second. I feel it, but we did come here right after a Moffat two-parter, and Moffat is often criticized for like he gets very timey-wimey. He does like to do that, and he like squeezes in too many ideas. But I think that, like, compared to Malcolm Hulke's effort here, argue whether or not he was phoning it in, but it's a Malcolm Hulke joint, and he has timey-wiminess that's not really explored, not really explained, leaves you with a big sort of hang on, how are they going to do this thing? How are they going to wipe out all of modern humanity, but also using people from modern humanity? And and they throw in a confusing bit of Blinovitch limitation effect reference from Day of the Daleks. Right. This is its second outing. And it just, so the timey-wiminess doesn't make sense. I would have loved to have seen a whole Doctor Who story about the people who think they're on a spaceship.
Yeah,
and they're
there's
actually
kind
in
of a
central London.
you kind of have to believe there's a whole nother almost a whole nother story that sort of gets these people recruited. That could be like maybe the Rogue One or the Andor of this particular story, where people are subtly and slowly and secretly persuaded to join effectively this cult that's going to whisk them away to another planet.
If they'd focused it all on that, I think that would have been a great serial. Maybe not 6 episodes, maybe another 2-parter. But it almost doesn't seem like it belongs here.
Yeah.
So speaking
on the
of
timey
Moffat
wiminess,
stuff
I would disagree a bit. I do think it works. Like, I get it, right? Like, I think maybe it even makes more sense if you've seen Superman the movie, where he turns time back and he sort of rewinds the earth, so to speak. Although I think subsequently they've sort of, exactly. It's not the strongest part of that movie, but it is like, it's kind of like, I get what they're trying to do. And they almost succeed. It's just, the whole time scoop, getting the dinosaurs as well. Also, like, why only 4 species of dinosaurs? And one of them is not even a dinosaur, like a pterodactyl or whatever. But I could sort of headcanon that, in that maybe they're big enough to be useful for the time scoop. And maybe based on whatever their experiments are, they can predict their behavior a little bit better. So if they got like a bunch of velociraptors, for example, that would be too dangerous because they're too smart and they're too hard to keep track of.
I love the idea, and maybe you could just sort of insert it as a scene late at night. One of the Whitaker, the scientist who's like working on this, is just like, okay, I'm going to try getting some dinosaurs in the past so that we can take over central London. And he just grabs one of his kids' books of like a child's treasury of dinosaurs or whatever, and he's just going through that.
That'd be right.
Pattern matching, like, okay, we're just going to get the most famous dinosaurs here.
Yeah. I mean, you can see that they are very targeted, right? Because they have this scanner that scans the past, and they're scanning the pterodactyl before they bring it. So it's very deliberate. So that would actually kind of make sense. I will say Peter Miles, who played Whitaker, he's a real guy who pops up in Doctor Who a lot. He actually, when I saw him, I remembered, it's Nider. That's probably his best role in Doctor Who. Like, he plays Nider in Genesis the Daleks. Yes, I thought he's a very capable actor. He's good at the sinister. You believe him when he's like, why don't we just eliminate people? And it's kind of surprising they don't do more of that. But there's not much there, like you get way more from like Grover and Finch. I guess they have more airtime too, but the guys doing sciencey stuff in the basement just wasn't really, it just kind of left me cold.
The scientist is supposed to have done this because he had a very "you fools" moment. Right. You won't bankroll my study of time travel. You will rue the day. You will regret this. And he's sort of like, he's cackling mad scientist, but he's just like bumped down to like number 3 or 4 in the org chart. He's just kind of doing his own thing. He's just the CTO, I guess.
Exactly.
He's on R&D, and then and these politicians have just come in and like politician in general, and they've just like run roughshod over the whole thing. And he seems to be okay with this. Like he's
surprisingly okay. I think they do a better job of that idea of a scientist's work being skewed and perverted, and then him not being okay with it. They do a much better job in Robot in the following season. Okay, a few miscellaneous things. This is the episode you learn Sarah's age. She's 23 when she's joined the Doctor, apparently.
Oh my goodness,
that's cool.
Where do we learn that? I entirely missed it.
There's some kind of debrief where they're chatting and they're like ask her. I think it might even be episode 1 when they're asking who these people are. And so she says her age. She's 23, and
she likes long walks on the beach.
Exactly. Her Hinge profile's getting slowly filled out episode by episode.
That's right. She'll get a tasty chef at the end.
The Doctor mentions he thinks it's Sunday when they first land. Maybe that's it. I mentioned that in the TLDW.
Yeah, you know what? I think that's we're about to get to it. But I mentioned last time that I've rewatched, Forest of the Dead, Silence of the Library, Forest of the Dead, in which the Doctor says he never lands on Sundays. And then there's a similar thing about how the TARDIS tends to avoid Sundays in the Impossible Planet,
Right.
a possible astronaut rather. And now here we are with the Doctor saying he lands on Sundays.
Well, he suspects it's a Sunday. That's like in other words, he's open to the idea that the TARDIS landed him somewhere on a Sunday. Maybe after this is the episode that inspires him to sort of recalibrate things and let's just never do that. Pertwee, I got to say, looks good in blue, but it is one of those things. But wait, wasn't he just wearing green in the Time Warrior? I guess he changed in the TARDIS. Let's go with it. But I do like his blue jacket. It's nice.
I do. I want a scene of Pertwee rushing into the costume cupboard, yelling, "I've got wigs!"
Shout out to the animal guest cast. There's a stray dog in episode 1, and there is a kitty cat in the window of one of the stores or in episode 6, and I kind of wonder who's taking care of that cat. Oh, poor cat. Doctor Who's not very nice to cats, you know?
It's a good snack. It's a good snack. They had to lay it on for the dinosaurs, union rules.
Okay, so those are a few miscellaneous notes, and we'll always have the question of whether that cat survived the events of Invasion of the Dinosaurs. But there are some other questions we have to answer. The first one being
wait, what questions?
Questions, yeah.
How many of them?
Oh, there are a number of them. There's actually 4 questions to Doomsday. And the first of those questions is, why did the randomizer take us here as we tape on a Sunday?
Yes. Sundays don't exist. We don't currently exist right now. No, the randomizer brought us here because I had to come on the podcast. I needed to find a reason for it, so I worked with the randomizer. No, it's yes, the Sunday thing. It's Hulk versus Moffat, as we discussed. Also, I went to Japan recently, and as part of preparing to go to Japan, I've been trying to watch Godzilla Minus Zero.
Godzilla Minus One.
Minus One. Wait, which one? I think it's Minus Zero, the one that's on Netflix. Anyway,
I don't know. Is there Minus
trying
Zero?
to
Is there like a prequel to Godzilla Minus One? I've seen Godzilla Minus One. It's really good.
I mean, it's good. Kind of knocks the dino effects in this into a cocked hat, as they say. But I feel like the randomizer is taunting me because I've only really been watching that 10 minutes at a time.
Oh yeah.
He's like, "Oh, come on! You need better dinosaur effects. That's what you need. Forget this Oscar-winning dino business. Let's let's see some real not moving at all dinosaurs."
So it sounds like not the one I was thinking of. So I thought that it's similar to the Android invasion. You got those eerie, you're home but you're not quite home kind of vibes in episode 1.
Definitely.
It also reminds me that evacuating an area where there are some crazy otherworldly or sci-fi stuff going on, that's a good idea. You should probably think about an evacuation. Doctor in the caretaker.
Yeah.
Which
evacuate Coal Hill School.
Evacuations, man. It's probably a good idea. Get the people out of there.
He does mention unit in that, doesn't he? With bringing their soldiers in and what that would lead to when Danny Pink brings it up.
Yeah. Could be trouble, but still. Pro evacuation from here.
Yes. Randomizer says, yay, evacuation. If you're in a situation with dinosaurs right now, remember to evacuate. Don't listen to the doctor if he tells you not to.
Don't also listen to this guy Hammond. He does his little screw loose there. All right, moving on to the second question, which is, what if the evil plot had succeeded? All right.
Okay, so what is the evil plot? The evil plot is the Golden Age is sending these people who think they're in a spaceship back in time to when exactly? We don't know. Somewhere.
Well, pre-civilization, I guess. You'd have to think that. So, because everyone's going to be rewound to people just not existing. So it's got to be millions of years, you would think.
And the idea is that they will then crowd out the humans who are there already. Basically, it's a colonial plot.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to go back in time to settle the Earth in a more primordial state.
Okay, so before humans come along.
I think so. I think that's the idea.
Okay, but it's taken as read that they're going to wipe out all succeeding generations.
Yeah, everyone who isn't in their zone will basically be rewound. Like basically, they'll have never existed.
Yeah. So, and there's a reason for why the colonists aren't included in those people who never existed.
Well, that's the whole zone. If you're in the zone,
Okay.
you're not affected.
If we're in the zone. Yeah.
So that's the evil plot. So I see that like the most obvious turning point to me happens in episode 6 toward the beginning. And so the Doctor's running away. Well, he's driving away in his Jeep. He's cornered by Finch, and then the Brigadier pulls up on the other side. And Finch is like, I'm going to take you into custody. And Brigadier's like, no, I'm going to take him into custody. And they both sort of have their number 2 with a gun. And when the Brigadier, whose number 2 is Benton gets to be the person to come out with his rifle, Finch backs down. Honestly, I have no idea why. This to me is almost a plot hole because, well, Finch now is like, okay, Brigadier, well, he's yours and it's your responsibility. But at this point, there's the Doctor just knows so much, and he also knows he can't trust the Brigadier. I don't know why he's backing down, other than the fact that he just doesn't have enough force to take him out. But he does have a guy with a gun. You know what I mean? Like it's like, well, let's just start shooting at each other, and then so that to me feels like the part where it would turn and like maybe there's a gunfight, and even if Finch loses, that becomes a massive distraction and a way that something they just have to deal with, so they don't get to the base in time, and Whitaker and everyone just throws the switch. So the big question then is like, is the Doctor and the Brigadier protected because they're in the zone? And so
they're in the zone.
Can they then either reverse it or fight against Whitaker and whoever to make sure that that their evil ways are no longer I don't know.
Is Sarah also in the zone?
Probably, yeah, she would because she's in the ship, right? Yeah. So Sarah's okay.
So Doctor Who just cuts to many millions of years earlier with the Doctor and the colonists and Sarah, and like the Doctor's still trying to encourage a visit to this massive field of flowers that he's just discovered.
Sure.
And they're just like, the whole human race has been wiped out in the future, Doctor. Not time for flowers.
I'll take that. I just, I think what would have to happen is that the Doctor somehow creates some alternate timeline where these people live out their golden age somewhere and our world is still preserved. And that's probably where that would sort of split off.
Yeah.
And we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see how they do. Then you can just sort of see what they do. It'd be like Space Seed, right? Like with Khan going off on his planet. It's like, let's see what happens. And then maybe the Golden Age world gets taken over by Daleks. And there's like, oh, that was a bad idea.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the idea that humans would do better by setting up earlier in the past. That needed to be thought through a little bit, guys.
Skeptical. All right.
Huge skeptical.
Moving on to the third question, which is, where is the Clara Splinter? Clara Oswald Clara splintered in time at the end of the Name of the Doctor. She's somewhere in every single Doctor Who story. Where is she in Invasion of the Dinosaurs?
Well, clearly she's a dinosaur. No, I got
dinosaur,
nothing.
Sarah? What kind of dinosaur?
I got nothing. I think I do have something.
Okay.
Thank you, Tony. But I think that she is in Operation Golden Age. There's so many things that she has to sabotage. But I think one of the things that would make a lot of sense, given one of the biggest problems of Invasion of the Dinosaurs, is that she's actually an anesthesiologist. Okay. She's figured out that when you time scoop these creatures, you can also add like a cloud of anesthesia, which is why none of them are really moving. They're just roaring. They're just standing still and roaring and not really causing much damage. And that's all down to the Clara Splinter. That's all down to her anesthesia training.
Nice. except to each other. Then episode
Yeah.
6, where the T-Rex and the
Yeah, well,
dinosaurs go at each other.
Yeah, well, that is also famously thought of as the dinosaurs kissing scene. So maybe Clara just gets those dinosaurs loved up.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
Aphrodisiac added to the mist.
Well, I also had her as part of Operation Golden Age, but only to take away my discomfort with the Sarah getting undressed and dressed. See, and she's the one basically responsible for that.
Yeah.
And making sure Sarah's prepped. Which, by the way, again,
sure.
I don't know why they thought it was a good idea to put Sarah on this ship without either telling her or anyone what was really happening. Like, how did they not think she would make trouble? Like, these Golden Age people, like, they're just bad planners, man. They don't really know what they're doing.
I think the Golden Age organization, despite the presence of Ruth, is absolutely rife with misogyny. They clearly did not think that a 23-year-old woman would cause any trouble at all, or even notice that she had a bump on her head.
Right.
That doesn't appear to have gone down in 3 months. They thought,
who is that number 2 guy? Like, I just get the sense he's incompetent. Like, what was his name's? I'm trying to look here at the cast list. Is it like Lodge or something, or no? I don't know. Butler. That's the guy, right?
Butler. Yeah, that sounds about right. Wait.
He's kind of like the jerkwad guy, Like, he's the guy always saying, like, we should just eliminate people. We should just kill this person. And
he's the Martin Jarvis character, right?
Is that the guy who plays him?
Yeah,
Martin Jarvis. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in a lot of Doctor Who. I love him. He narrates the audiobook, by the way. There's a wonderful voice for it. You can find it on Spotify. Go listen to it. It's part of the Unit collection.
Yeah, and it's very satisfying when the Doctor, like, just takes him out at the end with, like, some Venusian karate. So, because he's just kind of a jerk. And so, anyway, where was I going with this?
Butler and Clara.
And Clara, and, like, maybe, like, he's, I don't know. She and her are working together. He's like basically blunting his influence. But yeah, go ahead.
In the novelization, Butler has a big scar on his face.
Okay.
Which he got when he was a firefighter saving a child. So I guess Malcolm Hulke is really trying to draw attention to the fact that he would be a nice guy, but he feels horribly disfigured.
Everyone's very flawed.
Yeah.
Operation Golden Age.
Right?
Yeah.
Not exactly a golden age.
But I guess what I was trying to say there is I blame the incompetence on this guy. Like, he just seems like he's a tough guy they feel like they need to have around because he can be extreme when they need someone to be, but he's just not very good at planning. So he could be the loose cannon who decided it was a good idea to put Sarah Jane Smith in with the ship, but they really weren't on board with it. They were just like, what are you doing? Well, it's like, we need her out of the way, and you guys didn't want to kill her or whatever.
Well, maybe Clara did more than just undress her. Maybe she was the one who persuaded them that she needs to go on the ship. Because Clara knew Sarah Jane would mess stuff up.
Nice. That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I like that so much. I'm moving on to the fourth and final question, which will become after I tell you all about our website, pulltoopen.net, where you can subscribe to our newsletter. You get full notes on every one of our random episodes. There's always a few things we don't get to talking about, so there's fresh content. Please subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe, and it's a nice little reminder that, hey, the podcast is up when it's up. And finally, we are at the fourth question, the ultimate question, the only question that matters for Invasion of the Dinosaurs. What did we think of this story? The Pull to Open rating system has 7 ratings. There's the Dalek, which we give to a good episode of Doctor Who. The Ogron, which we give to an irredeemably bad episode of Doctor Who. Professor Hater, which is a not very good episode, but hey, at least they tried something. The Viscount Banger, which we reserve for the best of the best. The Fixed Point in Time, which is a show beyond rating, usually for reasons of nostalgia. The Lady Cassandra, which is a paper-thin plot, but hey, at least it looks good. And The Zarbi, which is a story so bad, it's actually good. What say you, sir?
What do you think, Tony? I would like to rate this a Viscount banger, but I can't get behind it. I'm going to have to say fixed point in time because, that's what it was when I got scooped up. Fixed point in time. You know what I'm saying? Now, I am going to rate this a hybrid, as I am wont to do. I think that this is, that there are some funny points in this. There are some so bad it's good points in this, but not enough for a full Zarbi. And there's also things that you learn. You learn about dinosaurs a little bit. And you learn, how not to do dinosaurs in Doctor Who. So, yeah, it's a Professor Zarbi for me.
Oh, wow. Look at you.
Mm-hmm.
You and your hybrids. For me, I'm going with the straight Professor Hater. So, honestly, the dinosaurs are horrible, and it's too bad that it's called Invasion of the Dinosaurs, and they're sort of obligated to have them in it, and all of that. So it's really not a thing, even though I think everyone should be quite forgiving of special effects in Doctor Who, Classic Who. It is one of those things that you have to take it down a bit of a notch for that. That said, if you get past that, I think the story is very engaging in the first few episodes. And again, like I said, Liz Sladen's great. It's a great episode for Sarah. It's really the last time the whole unit gang is back together in a proper unit story, like certainly the Brigadier and Benton and even Yates, they come back in Planet of the Spiders. But this is where they're kind of together in unit. And even though Yates is obviously one of the bad guys, that actually makes the story very interesting and very memorable. It's way too freaking long. Like, this is 4 episodes max. Should have been anyway. Episode 5 is ridiculously padded. Like, all that chase stuff, like, it's just driving. It's literally just driving. Like, you're watching this thing. There's nothing interesting. Like, he just kind of like goes in a bush at one point and backs out. It's like, if you find an afternoon at the Home Depot parking lot interesting, like, yep, you will totally enjoy episode 5 of Invasion of the Dinosaurs.
That's right. It's Top Gear with your host, John Pertwee.
So, the whole story is, I think it's kind of okay, even though a lot of the things sort of fall apart under scrutiny. It's a bit too linear, it's a bit like, like you mentioned, like, I think Grover, I'm a little more pro Grover than you are, but I also think it is pretty obvious as you sort of are led along. And then once he's unmasked, they should really start cutting to the end much, much faster than they do. So it's too bad. I would have been willing to go call this like a competent Dalek, but really all that stuff at the end, the last 3 episodes and the bad dinosaurs, it weighs it down. It's definitely a Professor Hater. They tried to do something. They came close to doing something, but it's more infamous than famous.
Yes, and everyone was asleep on the switch on this one, or tired, or too new, like Robert Holmes and Liz Sladen. So yeah, terrible confluence of circumstances there.
Yeah, but honestly, like I say, it was a terrible confluence of circumstances. Given everything you just said, you'd almost expect something even a lot worse. Yeah. I think again, you can have a decent time, particularly in the first few episodes. And if you can enjoy laughing at bad dinosaurs, I mean, there's a lot here for you. So enjoy that.
Yeah, if you like dinosaurs who've been anesthetized, this is a swing and a hit.
Boom. All right, let's hit the road from Invasion of the Dinosaurs. It's time to get into our time ship, even though we haven't seen it this entire story, and activate the randomizer.
The randomizer, 2 components. Peter's at the controls of one of them. That is the Codex. That is a list of all Doctor Who stories in sequential order. And we are getting ever closer to the halfway point. Pete, out of 300 stories, how many do we have left? What's the magic number?
The number is 174, now that I've knocked off Invasion of the Dinosaurs.
174. Appropriately enough, a story from 1974 got us there.
Oh, yeah.
174. That's right. Can't remember if we've come down this low in the random numbers before. So I plug those numbers into the other component, the executor, aka random.org, which uses true randomness in the atmosphere by bouncing off pterodactyls, sending atoms bouncing, instead of algorithmic randomness, which is just rubbish. That's like the boss computer from Green Death, and it only convinces Mike Yates that can actually come up with a random number. But before I hit generate and use atmospheric noise to come up with a true random number for the Doctor Who story we're about to visit next, we like to prostrate ourselves before the altar of the randomizer, bow deeply, and intone our prayers for where we do or do not want to go. Pete, what you got?
So this was a very earthbound adventure. It was all about Earth, different eras of Earth, creatures from Earth. Often I go for the opposite, but now I'm going to say, well, give us something also earthbound, but perhaps better, perhaps with a little more brevity in storytelling, because this one was definitely not that.
Earthbound and witty. I like it. And what do you think, Tony? What would you like to see? More dinosaurs. More dinosaurs. I want more I want better dinosaurs. I want to see dinosaurs on a spaceship. Oh, you've done that? Oh, okay. Something else. Something else with dinosaur. Yeah. Yeah, I'll go with that.
More dinosaurs. Nice.
More dinosaurs.
Well, there's lots to choose from. Good chunk of New Who, but also a couple of old Who.
And even one of the Pertwees that we're missing. We're rapidly filling up Pertwee, aren't we?
We are.
We might finish Pertwee before we finish Capaldi.
I will say that the randomizer's a bit on a Pertwee kick lately. So let's see what happens. Freddie, you ready?
Doctors with a full head of white hair. Yes, I'm ready, sir. Give me a countdown.
In 4, 3, 2, 1.
Emergency temporal shift.
33.
Oh boy, more old Who.
Oh boy, more old Who.
We said it. The randomizer did it.
What?
We are at the Time Monster.
Oh no.
Another 6-parter.
Oh no. Oh my god. Oh my god.
This one came up recently when we were talking about what was the one in Eccleston, Father's Day. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's your fault.
So it's got to be.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. This is cool. We are definitely filling in Pertwee. There's not a lot left.
Right.
After we do this one, there will be only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stories of Pertwee to do, which is impressive in terms of percentage.
There are no dinosaurs.
Time Monster, don't think so. Pretty sure there are.
There's a time ram, but there's Atlantis, but no dinosaurs.
One of the many theories of Atlantis from Doctor Who. What are there? Up to 5 now, something like that. All right. Well, we'll tick one off next time when we go back, even further into the Pertwee era. But until then, this has been Pull to Open. It's a podcast. Podcasts are great things to like, subscribe, follow. But the absolute best thing you can do to help support the show is to share it with a friend. Just tell a friend how much you're enjoying this, and if they also like Doctor Who, that it's worth a listen. Thank you, as ever, Martin West, for your music. It always makes us just sound a little bit better and a little more professional, so we're very grateful for that. And we will see you next time for the Time Monster.
Yes, we'll see you in Atlantis, and until then, take it sleazy.